Number 1. What is the importance of protein? The importance of fish nutrition are fish nutrition feeds and feeding management play important role in increasing the productivity of aquaculture farms. The fish is filled with omega-3 fatty acid and vitamins such as D and B2, riboflavin. Fish is rich in calcium and phosphorus and a great source of minerals such as iron, zinc, iodine, magnesium, and potassium. The American Heart Association recommends eating fish at least 2 times per week as part of healthy diet. Number 2. What is the importance of feeds in aquaculture? The importance of feeds in aquaculture are feeds and feed stuff contains the energy and nutrients essential for the growth, reproduction, and health of aquatic animals. Deficiencies or excesses can reduce growth or lead to disease. Dietary requirements set the necessary levels of energy, protein, amino acids, and lipid fat, mineral, and vitamins. Number 3. Why do aquafeeds need to be environment friendly? In what way? Aquaculture provides nutrients for fish, especially with the rapid development of aquaculture for expensive and extensive system, but can be major source of pollutant in aquaculture production system. Number 4. Explain the major consideration in formulation of feed sustainable aquaculture. The two most important factors to consider in formulating feed for any aquaculture species for improved production are nutrients requirements and feeding behavior of the fish stream. Feed formulation is the process of combining different feed ingredients in proportion necessary to provide the fish with proper amount of nutrients needed at the particular stage of production at reasonable cost. Number 5. Explain the sustainable approach to aquaculture. The sustainable approach to aquaculture can be defined as the aquaculture practice which focus on environmental, economic, and social sustainable to improve capacity building and utilize land effectively for the aquaculture sector. Aquaculture practice should be eco-friendly. Number 6. Why are amino acids called the building block of proteins? Because the amino acids are the building block of proteins that work as the bricks of the building. The amino acids are joined to form a long chain of acid by amino and carbonyl or carboxyl and yield water. This long chain amino acid is the primary protein. And because the side chains can bond with one another to hold a length of protein in a certain shape or conformation. Number 7. What are the 10 essential amino acids? The 10 essential amino acids are histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, and valine. Number 8. Explain the classification of proteins in terms of form, solubility, and physical properties. The classification of proteins based on solubility or proteins can be divided into two categories: fibrous, which tend to be insoluble in water, and globular, which are more soluble in water. Then the physical properties of proteins are thus have 9 classification: color and taste, 2 shape and size, 3 is colloidal nature, 4 is denaturation, 5 is amphoteric nature, 6 is ion binding capacity, 8 is solubility, then 9 is optical activity. Number 9. What is the importance of amino acid profiles in fish nutrition? The importance of amino acid profiles in fish nutrition is the free amino acid released from the proteins by the action of digestive cells to build a repair of worn-out tissue. Excess amino acids are used as energy source of converted to fat. Number 10. Define the term lipids. Name the two major functions of lipids. The term lipid, it is heterogeneous group of compounds, including fats, oil, steroids, lipid, are broad group of naturally occurring molecules, which include fats, wax, sterols, fat, diglycerides, phospholipids, and other. The function of lipids, component of cell membrane, the main biological function of yield large amount of energy. Lipid also form of structural component of cell membranes and form of various messengers and signaling molecules within the body. Then 11, what are the important types of lipids? Briefly defines each component. The three main types of lipids are phospholipids, sterols, including the different type of cholesterol, and triglycerides, which account for over 95% of lipids in food. Lipids are found in the higher quantities in fried foods, animal fat, and dairy products like cream and butter and cheese. Number 12. Why does the type of lipid requires to warm water fish differ from cold water fish? Cold water fish have much higher level of fat in them than warm water fish. The fat level allow the cold water fish to stay warm in cold water. Although fat does not seem like a good thing to eat, the fat found in most cold water fish is healthy type of fat. Then number 13, which among the fish species studied require more N2,6 rather than N2,3 fatty acids? The fish species study requires more than N6 rather than N3 fatty acid is salmon. 14. Differentiate between the saturated versus unsaturated fatty acids. Then polyunsaturated versus highly unsaturated fatty acids. The difference between saturated and unsaturated fatty acids are saturated fatty acid lack of double bonds between the individual carbon atoms, while in saturated fatty acid there is tend to be solid at room temperature and from animal source, while unsaturated fat are usually liquid and from plant source. Then the difference between polysaturated versus highly unsaturated fatty acid are the fatty acid in monounsaturated fats have single bond and only one double bond, whereas fatty acid is polyunsaturated fats as single bond and more than one double bond. This is the main difference between monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. Number 15. What are the functions of carbohydrates? Carbohydrates are also known as carbs. Are vital at every stage of life. They're the body's primary source of energy and the brain's preferred energy source. Carbs are broken and down by the body into glucose. A type of sugar, glucose is used as fuel by your body and tissue and organ. Number 16. Distinguish between lipids and carbohydrates. The key difference between carbohydrates and lipids is that carbohydrates are immediate energy source in living organisms, while the lipids act as long-term energy resource and tend to be utilized at a slower rate. Carbohydrates and lipids are important nutrients in living organisms. Number 17. Give 3 classification of carbohydrates and give 1 example of each. The 3 classification of carbohydrates are monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. The example of monosaccharide is carbohydrate is glucose because it is an example of single unit sugar, also known as monosaccharides. Then the example of disaccharides in carbohydrates is sucrose. Then the example of polysaccharides in carbohydrates is glycogen. Number 18. What carbohydrate type is the principal component of the exoskeleton of insect and crustaceans? In carbohydrates, the principal components of the exoskeleton of insect and crustaceans is a chitin because it is the most of abundant aminopolysaccharides polymer occurring in nature, and it is a building material that gives strength to the exoskeleton of crustaceans, insects, and the cell wall of fungi. Number 19. Name the important binders of aquaculture feeds obtained from seaweeds. Are alginates, agar, and carrageenes are extract from the seaweeds. The giant kelp Gracilaria sp and Capapicus sp, respectively, these are important binders in fish and crustaceans diet. 20. If lipids gives twice as much energy as carbohydrates, why then should carbohydrates be included in fish diet? Because one triglyceride molecule yields 3 fatty acid molecules with as much as 16 or more carbons in each one. Fat molecules yield more energy than carbohydrates and are an important source of energy for the human body. Number 21. Name some good carbohydrate source in fish diet. Starch, flour, alliginates, agar, carrageenan, and gargam. Number 22. Explain briefly the energy balance equation. Energy balance is simply the relationship between your energy input and your energy output. The complete energy equation look like this. Energy input, calories in, energy output, calories out, energy balance. Number 23. What is the ATP? What it is its function? Adenosine triphosphate or ATP is the source of energy for us for use and storage at the cellular level. The structure of ATP is a nucleoside triphosphate consisting of nitrogenous base of adenine, a ribose sugar, and 3 serially bonded phosphate groups. Number 24. Give 3 examples of energy requiring biological processes. All organisms need energy. Life depends on the transfer of energy. Number 25. What are the factors that influence the energy requirements of aquatic animals? These factors include management practices, environment condition, feed quality, inherent genetic factor, and physiological condition of the fish. The review would help to increase basic knowledge on the nutrition, which emphasis on feed intake of aquaculture species of improved management and productivity. Number 26. Define the term vitamin. What is the general function of vitamins? Vitamins are a group of substances that are needed of normal cells function, growth, and development. These are 13 essential vitamins. This means that these vitamins are required for the body to work properly. 27. Distinguish between lipid-soluble and water-soluble vitamin. Name the vitamins that are lipid-soluble. Name of the vitamins that are water-soluble. The difference between water-soluble vitamins and fat-soluble vitamins are water-soluble vitamins are quickly absorbed with the excess of being released. Fat-soluble vitamin is slower to dissolve, and the excess is stored in liver. This means that excessive amount of fat-soluble vitamin supplements can cause problems such as vitamins toxicity. Number 28. What vitamins plays an important role in calcium and phosphorus metabolisms? The vitamin plays an important role in calcium and phosphorus metabolism are vitamin D function by stimulating intestinal metabolization by increasing linear resorptions of calcium in the distal tubule. This function on bone and possibly kidney, but not intestine, require the parathyroid hormones. Number 29. What are the three groups of minerals? Give example of each group. The three groups of minerals are known as the native element. They are partitioned into three families: metal, semi-metal, and non-metals. The example of metal is iron. Semi-metal is mercury telluride. The example of non-metal is hydrogen. 30. What are the general function of minerals? The general function of minerals are: minerals may serve as component of hard tissue, matrices to tissues, metalloproteins. Then, it is activation and component of enzyme systems, formation and maintenance of skeletal systems, then regulation of acid-base balance, and maintenance of osmotic balance, then intermediate in protein synthesis, transport of oxygen, then absorption of vitamins. Number 31. What correlation exists between anatomy of the digestive tract and feeding habit of fishes? There is strong correlation between the automatical structure of the digestive tract and the feeding habits of the fish. Herbivorous fish depend on the fibrous food such as phytoplankton, and microphytes differ anatomically and behaviorally from carnivorous fish that consume meat and other more digestible feeds. Then number 32 is: what are the four types of feeding behavior of fish in their natural habitat? Feeding habits of fish. Fish can be grouped into four main categories according to the type of food which they prepare under natural conditions. These are herbivores, detritus feeders, carnivores, and omnivores. Then number 33 is: describe the step and enzymes involved in protein digestion. Then the lipid digestion. The letter C is carbohydrate digestion in fishes and crustaceans. In protein digestion, enzymes are involved in protein digestion. Pepsin is an stomach enzyme that serves to digest proteins found in ingested food. Gastric sheep cells secrete pepsin as an inactive zymogen called pepsinogen. Then, letter B is lipid digestion. They include gastric lipase, colipase-dependent pancreatic lipase-related protein. Then, carboxyl ester hydrolase or bile salt-stimulated lipase. Then, letter C is carbohydrates digestion in fishes and crustaceans. The enzymes which break down the carbohydrates in gut of fish are carbohydrases. They are amylase, lactase, saccharase, and cellulase. Then, the last question is: discuss the factor that may affect digestion and absorption of fishes or in fishes. The factor may affect digestion and absorption in fishes are: it is considered that feeding frequency and food amount are the key factors that influence fish digestion and nutrients absorption. Feeding frequency and food amount are the factor that may affect digestion and absorption in fishes.